What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be airbrushing this mask, and I just want to show you guys the materials that I use, and so maybe this can help you guys out. So first off, I just use the cheapest airbrush that Harbor Freight has. This was about 10 bucks, I want to say. It was on sale recently. I've got a couple of them, and they work fine as long as you clean them. I've got this this right here. This is like how you can rinse out airbrushes. You kind of just stick the tip of it in like this, and then you can rinse your airbrush out in between. So the paint can be expensive. I buy Monster Maker's paints. You can see back here, I mean, I have tons of paints. I have more in this crate over here. I've got every kind of flesh tone and brown, orange, green, red, blue, yellow, black, gray. I've got a perma-wet, which is the gloss sealer, so that way it seals all your paint in, so that way it's basically like a waterproof finish. That's a purple. My white that I'm going to start off with on my mask. But I mean, you could make your own paints, and you can just basically use just regular acrylic inks, just cheap ink from like Walmart or Joann Fabrics, and mix it with latex. But I always found it hard to get the exact color that I wanted, and then you have to thin it down if you're going to airbrush it and everything. I just got the whole 13 color kit from Monster Makers. I think it was like 70 bucks, but that's fine for me. It's going to last you a long time. You only use a little bit of paint when you're painting. So let's just jump into this here. My compressor, you don't need a compressor this big. You can use a small compressor. You really only need to go up to around 60 PSI or so. I mean, these cheap airbrushes, I think it says max PSI that you're supposed to use is like 30, 40 maybe. Right now I'm set at 60, and that's typically what I'll run. Like I said, I only have this one because it was a really good deal. You can get away with using a much smaller one. So I'm just going to fill up this little bottle here. We're just going to do a base coat of white on this clown. Let that dry, and then I'm going to figure out what kind of colors I want to get. I do wish I had a bunch more jars to just kind of put all my paints in, because I'm going to have to paint this. I'm going to have to go rinse it out real quick and come back. So I'm going to be pausing in between this video. So it's just white. I'm going to test it out on this pizza box over here. Okay, see what kind of pattern I got. Okay, that should be fine. Let's just jump into it, guys. See what happens. Actually, I did mess up. Sorry. You should always clean your mask first. I'm going to go grab some rubbing alcohol and clean this. Make sure there's no fingerprints or oil or anything on it. Then we're going to start back over. Sorry about that. I forgot to completely clean this off. Just going to use some rubbing alcohol in this cloth here. Should maybe put on a set of gloves. Would probably be smart. I just want to wipe off the fingerprints, dust, and stuff like that, so that way the paint will stick. All right, it's probably pretty dry now. And take two. press it down too much. I don't know why it kind of beads up around these areas. I figure it would kind of should coat all the way on, but it just takes a couple coats. It's kind of thin, especially just mainly for the base coat. After the base coat, it's usually fine. If anyone knows why, let me know. Comes the air compressor, so it's gonna be kind of hard to hear anything. It's gonna kind of paint. This is very humid today, so some of this paint seems like it's drying a lot quicker than usual. Go out. Just dry some. All right, and I'm back, and this should be dry enough so we can go ahead and do another layer here. And one more thing I wanted to say is that you should definitely be wearing a respirator. I'm not, for the purpose of the video, so you can hear me talk to you. But you should definitely wear this because it's a latex paint, and if that gets in your lungs, I mean, not good. So go ahead and do another layer here. All right, and that looks pretty good. Again, I'll let this one dry. I'm going to do one more layer to get another full coat. Rinse this out. Because if you do not rinse these out, they're really hard to get clean, and you might end up having to throw it away. And that's. I think this cleaner here was maybe like $10 at Harbor Freight. And I had some airbrush cleaning tools. I just can't remember what I did with them. Okay, I think I got it. Put the fan back on this. I'll be back when that's dry. Alright, that's dry, so let's go ahead and do probably the final coat of white here. All right, that's the final coat of white. Let's let that dry. We're gonna come back to it and start making it colorful. Now let's go ahead and dry this. And I've got this awesome hair dryer that I use. This is what I use when I dry my latex masks. Oh, this is really the best one. I just pulled it out. This is gonna make it a lot quicker. I do want to say that you want to make sure you put your paint back in your bottle, unless you've got plenty of these bottles laying around, which would be nice to just have a bunch of these. I could leave my paints in, but I don't. So put your paint back in your bottle and go rinse a bunch of hot water and alcohol through it. Okay, we're back here and the white is all dry and we're ready to start adding some colors. I've got red in my airbrush. I'm going to paint the nose and the mouth. And when I was putting the paint on here, I had my finger on the trigger and accidentally sprayed a little bit right here of red. That's not going to matter in the end, but just learn from my mistakes and don't have your finger on the trigger when you're putting your paint on. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so there's the finished red. And then I'm actually going to make it a little bit darker because I'm going to be adding permablood later on to this mask. You're going to see this pop towards the end. So I'm just going to start cleaning out my airbrush, mixing colors, and just going on. Blue. Okay, so I'm finished with the red and the blue, and definitely kind of messed up on the blue a little bit here, but I still don't think it's going to be that big of a deal in the end, at least for me. Then I'm just going to try to hand paint this purple on around these eyes because it's in such a small little area. You're not really supposed to be hand painting with this mask paint because it's so thin, but might leave some brush strokes, but I don't really care. Not the end of the world for me. Okay, sorry about that. My GoPro just died on me while I was recording. Wanted to get you a little bit closer. So move the camera. Alright, so I got the basic paint done here on my mask, and I just want to do a black wash to get in all these little cracks and crevices and really make this pop. All you got to do is get some cheap black acrylic paint, and you're going to thin it down with some water. And I'm going to airbrush it on here, let it dry, and kind of wipe some off, and what doesn't come off is going to be left in these cracks and make this thing pop. So just going to start off by putting in a little paint. Some water. Maybe a little bit more paint, thicken it up just a little bit. That's fine. Just put this here in your airbrush container now. Just gonna put this cap on it. Well, not my water cap, I guess. This cap on it, cover up the holes here, and give it a shake. All right, I got my airbrush set to 40 psi. Here we go. All right, so I'm finished here, and I'm just going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back. All right, now that the black's dried, I'm going to take an old rag here. I'm going to dip it in some water and just kind of lightly wipe off the black, and it's going to stick around here in these cracks and give us a cool effect. So just get it kind of damp, and then I'm just going to kind of wipe off. You don't want to press too hard and clean everything. And then you can start to see what this is going to do. gonna give this mask a lot more depth and really make it pop. Okay, so that looks about good to me. Now I'm just going to take some Perma Blood, put it in a little cup here, and paint on my nose and my mouth, and maybe do some blood splatters across this. And then we're going to let that dry. And then I'm going to do a seal of Perma Wet all over it, so that way the acrylic paint doesn't come off. Let's see. Okay, and that looks about good for me. I'm kind of liking how that happened. It kind of looks like killed something, splattered across this way. Maybe he ate something. So I'm gonna let this dry, and like I said, when this is done, when this is finished drying, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna airbrush a coat or two of Perma Wet over it, and then it'll be done as far as painting goes. Alright, so I'm basically done painting now, and I'm just going to put a layer of Perma Wet on it, so that way it seals in all the acrylic paint on here and then puts a glossy shine over the entire mask, and then it'll also act as like a protective layer for it. So I'm just going to shake up my Perma Wet, and this is from Monster Makers. It's kind of thick. So I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to thin it down with just a little bit of water. Just a little bit of water. Basically wanting like the consistency of milk. And it looks pretty good. I've got my air compressor set to 60 psi. Once again, still got this cheap airbrush going. I'm going to put my mask on, because for this you really want a mask. You don't want to breathe any of this in. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to start painting. Okay, I think that's about it. You basically want a nice solid layer to where you can kind of see that's clear. I did kind of get a little blotchy spot. I need to fix that. I'm just going to take a paintbrush. I don't know if you can see this right here, but I got a little too close. And I'll just kind of, you won't even be able to notice that when it's dry. There. Now we just want to let that dry. Oh, there's a piece of hair. It'll dry pretty quick, but when that's dry, we're done. I mean, I'm just gonna throw some straps on it and it's finished. But as far as painting goes, this is the final result. I'll come back and show it to you when it's dry. Okay, so the mask is completely done painted now. All that's left to be done is throw some straps on it. I think it turned out pretty good. Couple looks at it here. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If this helped you out, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. See you guys.